Hey again, everyone. This is the Cyber Tutor, and we're going to continue with part 2 of Portswigger's Web Security Academy for the server-side vulns with access control. So now we have a lab here. User role controlled by request parameter. Don't look at that. This lab has an admin panel at /admin, which identifies admins using a forgeable cookie. Solve the lab by accessing the admin panel and using it to delete the user Carlos. You can log into your own account using the following credentials: Wiener Peter. So we're going to do that first. So we've got here, I've got this DevTools open here because we're looking at cookies. So I'm looking down here where it says cookies to see what changes. Right now we have a cookie, but we don't have any parameters in it. So this is kind of what you would want to look for. In Burp Suite, you would be able to see the same thing in the request body and the response bodies. Okay, so here's something interesting. It says admin false. We just got another cookie. So let's see if we can possibly manipulate this in some way. So let's evaluate that to true. And then let's play around with this. So we could try an email, updating the email. Okay, well we are the admin now. So maybe if we just go to /admin. Oh, okay, that was easy. So once we got that cookie, once we changed the value of that cookie, and then we went to the admin panel, which they said is at /admin. So in this case, we didn't have to really look for it. We can now delete the user. So, yay. And in the future, if you ever have a problem like this where you need to modify cookies, it would probably be best to look at it in Burp Suite because it's a little bit easier to look at. So I can see here, we can look at that. See how here it says cookie session, and it's got some funky text here that's encoded and then admin true. So you would right click on this request, go send to repeater, and then you would change the post request value to /admin. Actually, we would change that to a get because I think we need to get that page, not post to it. So posting would be sending something to the server like a form, and then getting something is like requesting a page. So these are HTTP methods. And here we evaluated admin to true. So let's just see what happens. We can delete this because we're requesting a different page, so we don't need to give it any extra information. Okay, cool. So it took us to the same page. We can tell because it says lab solved. Congrats, you solved the lab. So that's how you do that in Burp Suite. You would send it to repeater and then change some of the values here in the actual request and then send it off to the server. And that's it for this one. So let's move on to the next one. Horizontal privilege escalation. This occurs if a user is able to gain access to resources belonging to another user instead of their own. For example, if an employee can access the records of other employees as well as their own, this is horizontal priv-esc. So this is not vertical because you're not going up in the escalation, you're just going kind of sideways. So they call it horizontal because you're not really gaining that much. But this is still very valuable because someone who has an account that may be kind of in the same tier as yours might actually have more information or maybe access to something else that can eventually give you that window to priv-esc vertically. So here they give you an example. Somebody has an account that they're in and they have a special ID for that. So their ID is 123. But you can manipulate this. You can change this value to different numbers and then you can get more information on more accounts. Blah, 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 if they modify that. Okay. So this is an example of IDOR, which is Insecure Direct Object Reference Vulnerability. This type of vuln arises where user controller parameter values are used to access resources or functions directly. Okay, so we can move on. Oh, this is important actually. For example, instead of an incrementing number, an application might use globally unique identifiers, GUIDs, to identify users. So this can prevent an attacker from guessing or predicting the other user's identifier. However, the ones belonging to other users might be disclosed elsewhere. So if there's a way that you can find their unique ID, their user ID, then you may be able to use that to get more information. So this lab, let's see, user ID controlled by request parameter with unpredictable user IDs. Okay, that's a really long title. This lab has a horizontal Privesc vuln on the user account page, but identifies users with GUIDs. To solve the lab, find the GUID for Carlos and then submit his API key as the solution. You can log into your own account using the following creds, same as last time. So let's see. So we need to find Carlos's unique identifier. And then there's some way that we can get his API key based off of that, and then we have to submit that. So let's see. Okay. So we've got here, it kind of looks like a blog type situation. So let's just click on the first thing. Shopping woes. Okay, this was posted by Wiener. Excellent username. I'm one of those really annoying people you don't want to get stuck behind in the grocery store. Okay, this guy is going on like a rant. Carbon dioxide? I don't even know how to say that. Yeah, I don't see Carlos in here, so I think we're gonna go back. Let's see, hobbies. Does Carlos have hobbies? Administrator has hobbies, but Carlos doesn't. Rip Carlos. Okay, where is Carlos? Carlos! There you are. Okay, so Carlos knows a lot about writing resumes, which is great, but we don't care. We just want his ID. We want his unique ID. So something you can do, if you want to get more information, you can hover over this link. And if you see all the way down at the bottom, the moment I move my cursor there, it's going to disappear. But you can see here, it's identifying him not by this name that's being displayed, because this name is being displayed, but what's behind the name, what's on the link, is more important. So if you see here, you've got this value, user ID, and then you can see down there, that's his unique value. So that's what we are interested in. And you should be able to see this for all the other bloggers as well. So in this case, I'm going to inspect this element, which should give me an easier view of this link. So I can do this and copy his user ID. So I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. And then now we have to just figure out what are we going to do with it. So here you can submit the solution. That's supposed to be his API key. So let's log in with the default credentials that they gave us. And okay, so we're in that. So this is interesting. Your username is Wiener. Your API key is blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what can we do with this? Obviously, we can't put this in the email field. That's not going to do anything. I mean, we could try, but I don't think it's going to do anything. But what's interesting up here is if you look here, you can see my account, and then you've got that question mark, which means it's the beginning of another query. This is how URLs signify the beginning of another query. And then you've got this ID value here. And this is Wiener's ID. Maybe his name's Weiner. I don't know. I'm saying Wiener. I'm assuming it's Wiener, but could be Weiner. So this guy, you want to change this to Carlos's ID, and that should automatically give us access to Carlos's account. Perfect. Okay, so we are now Carlos, because there were no protections on this, on manipulating this value, the ID value. So here's the API key, and we can submit that. Perfect. You solved the lab.